How might the imposition of new sanctions on Moscow impact Trump's goal of improving relations with Russia?
Well, we should understand that American policy, American foreign policy, is predetermined. Its domestic policy, and everything what is happening on the domestic level in the United States, that would be the main issue which is projected to the foreign policy. So, being said that, it means actually that America's position and Trump position, of course, even it shows some signs to enter this conflict, but also we should understand America's interest, it's not about to help Ukraine, but maybe just to take out of this burden, which is called Ukraine, because America has maybe different interests. So, and in this case, given American position, we understand that Russia's sovereignty, Russia's interest, Russian foreign policy goals, it is something what we do no matter of American position or European position. So in this case, well, it's a good sign that we have diplomatic negotiations with the United States, but at the same time, we understand we do not depend on any decision coming from any other country.
Okay, Ms. Olga, what are the key concessions that Russia is demanding before engaging in peace talks, and how might these affect Ukraine and its European allies?
You know, I would not be using the word of concession because it means, or it would mean that Russia is somehow in a weaker position, but the truth is the opposite. If we look at
Why do you see it as the opposite, Miss Olga?
So we see in the battlefield, Russia's military forces they are advancing. They're advancing a lot, and America and so European and American help to Ukraine. It's under the big question right now. But even though it will be continued, we see still Ukraine is not in a position just to be resistant. Of course, not at all. But the second point is resistance of Russian economy. So Russia's military base, Russia's resource base, and Russian people. It is something what should be taken into consideration. So that is why using the word of concession towards Russia, I wouldn't be so certain about this. But Russia in a position of power, definitely geopolitical power, and it is not something what Russia would need to. It would need to find certain compromise, but definitely not to give up.
Okay, how would the rejection of a ceasefire or of the ceasefire by Putin impact Trump's diplomatic efforts and relations between the United States and Russia?
Putin did not say no about the ceasefire, but of course, certain conditions was explicitly noted because considering our previous relations or previous Minsk agreements and the Istanbul agreements of 2022, so we see the Western countries they were not been consistent in their position. So and given this fact of maybe not being faithful, and I mean European countries in the United States. Russia would not trust. This is a time to regroup, maybe to rearm Ukrainian forces. And it explains, but it actually at the same time. There's a potential ceasefire would not address the main reasons why actually this conflict has been started. So now, talking about ceasefire, it means almost nothing. It's just useless talks because we need to see like the more substantial reasons of this conflict, and they're not still addressed.
Mr. Maui, did you listen to Mrs. Olga and did you hear what she said?
Yeah.
What do you think, sir? What's your narrative on what she said?
But well, I think that she has some right, but right now we have to understand what is happening on the front line. Okay, Russians are gaining some territories in Kursk, but they are retreating in the Donbass. Ukrainian troops regain Taresk, and this is not just because the U.S. started to give their military support, because we know that in the 24 hours between the Jeddah summit and the acceptation of the American conditions, the United States supported back intelligence sharing and military ammunition sending. Okay, but the problem is that what we're going to do now. Okay. My colleague said clearly that right now the US want to set back European crisis to switch their forces, switch their strength in another theater. That theater is the Indo-Pacific. So again, it's about us. It's about European. We European must find some kind of agreement or some kind of solution to this crisis. And London and Paris are trying to push up tension with Russia because that's the point. We think that heightening tension is the right way to deal with Russia. It's not totally my opinion, but it could be an exit way.
Got you, Mr. Paolo. Ms. Olga, before we wrap up this episode, your narrative or what do you think of what Mr. Paolo is saying now?
Well, I think European countries need to think about their economy, the further development of their economy, because definitely we see now it's in not a really good shape without Russian resources. A second, maybe
without Russian. I beg your pardon. Without Russian what?
Without Russian resources, without Russian cheap gas. So we see German economy now just moved its industrial basis to the United States. In a long-term perspective, economic development of European countries doesn't show maybe some optimistic sign. And second reason, so European countries probably should concern about the migration crisis. And in this case, looking at Russia as an enemy, maybe it's not really smart position.